Welcome back to a chunky slice of Germany. Because for 20 points this week, you can go ahead and grab yourself the 2022 BMW M5 CS. To go along with the several others we have already. From stock, this thing has 626 brake horsepower, 553 foot-pounds of torque, while weighing just a shade over 4,000 pounds, so it's very, very heavy indeed. Although, to be fair, it doesn't look too bad. I kind of like the accents around the BMW grille at the front. The different coloured headlights are certainly pretty cool indeed. Going to the side, it's got a pretty sporty look for an M5, and then going to the back, it looks, to be quite honest, a bit like the 2018 variant we have already. Going to the inside, we have got pretty much every sort of screen under the sun, and maybe a couple of buttons if you're lucky, but let's go ahead and see. Do we have a boost gauge? We do. We do actually have a functioning boost gauge. I like that. But now let's go ahead and take a listen. Okay, so here we are now in the upgrade shop. We're going to jump straight to conversions and see what we have available to us in terms of engine swaps, and we've got quite a fair few. So starting off, we've got ourselves a 4-litre V8. We of course have a 6.2-litre V8. We have ourselves a 5-litre V10, a 5.2-litre V10, and also the racing 3-litre inline-6 turbo. And also, if you wish to, you can go ahead and make this thing a rear-wheel drive as well, which I think we might do a bit later for a very special tune. In terms of aero and appearance, we've got quite a lot for this car, so let's go ahead and jump straight into what we've got. We've got the Forza front splitter with a brand new sort of toe strap instead of a tow hook, which does look arguably better than what we've had in the past. In terms of rear wing, we have a couple of interesting ones to choose from. That kind of reminds me of the 2009 M5. We also have the option for a tiny little wing as well, which is quite tasteful to the car. We have ourselves the regular Forza Aero, and also the option to take the wing off entirely. As for the bumper, we've got a couple options. We have ourselves a little bit of a body kit to go with the car, which does look pretty good, and there's also a rear bumper from Forza as well, which I think, okay, apparently that adds the little toe strap just in here. As for the side skirts, well, there's barely any, I'm not gonna lie. And then for the hood, we've got the stock option, or we can go ahead and add in a couple of hood pins as well. So all in all, you can actually do quite a fair bit of customization to this thing, which is honestly not too bad. In the meantime, our wonderful mechanic is back once again with another brand new tune for us, this time putting our car into A-Class. There's the share code, feel free to go ahead and grab the tune for yourself, and we're going to do that right now. So with all those parts, we can go ahead and expect £3,588. It's a lot lighter, and also just a shade under 430 brake horsepower. But to be fair, this thing has been taken from about middle of S1 back down to A-Class, which is honestly crazy. So with all those parts installed, now we go over to the paint. As for advanced, we actually have a couple of different paint groups this time. We have ourselves the main body of the car, and we've also got ourselves, and this is very, very interesting, the secondary bit is kind of like the grills, I would say, at the front here. So let's go ahead and just paint those up so we can see them very quickly. And also, I think it's kind of like a little vent on the side as well, which is pretty cool if you ask me. As for manufacturer colours, we of course only have two to choose from, which is this kind of green right here, and the sort of, I guess, gunmetal grey / silver. Although I think it looks cool like this. Alright, here we are now loading in to the race. I can safely say I've not seen the competition sport in person, but I've definitely seen a lot of M5s in my time, and I think my favourite one's roughly around the early 2000s. Although, to be fair, those headlights do look, you know, really, really cool. And away we go. We've now got to go ahead and compete with a bunch of other different vehicles. Try and get ourselves from 10th all the way up into 1st. Apparently, this thing doesn't really have a very good top speed, but it does have cornering. So hopefully, it should be pretty good. Also, Mechanic Mac also set a time on here of 208.7, and I really want to beat that. Now, if you ever managed to see one of these in the wild, then you are very, very lucky, because there's been only approximately 1,000 2022 BMW M5 CSs ever made, which is honestly absolutely insane. In case you're wondering, the CS stands for Competition Sport. I know, even I had to look that one up. And if you want one of your own, you better be prepared to pay, because these things are not cheap at all. Roughly 142,000 US dollar, which is absolutely insane. Also, here's how much it is in pound sterling. Okay, we're getting towards the end of the twistier section, and we're currently in 5th, which is not great, especially if you want to try and aim for a 1st place. We definitely need to try and scoop up some more positions. Right, there's 3rd, come on, just a little more power, there we go, now we've made it into a 3rd, which is fantastic. No, I don't think it's going to happen. That Jaguar, is it a Jaguar up front? Whatever it is, it's got way more pace than we have, but still, last corner, one more turn to go, the finish line is just there, and across we go with a 2nd place this time, which is a bit of a shame, but, you know, it's whatever. And we definitely did not beat that time. Wow. Okay, so not quite the result I was hoping for, but let's go ahead and have a look at the backstage. Maybe it might be good. And indeed, it is a very, very tough choice this week. We've got the Hyundai Envision 74 and the 12C versus the DeLorean DMC12 and the Roshin Q1. Both sets of vehicles here are very, very rare indeed, but I think I'd rather give it to the DeLorean. Do you agree? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Okay, so I was halfway through trying to get everything sorted, and the game has just decided to crash on me. Oh, I've gotta love Xbox One stability. So, after that little bit of chaos, now it's time to go ahead and check out the drag tune which Mac has made, an aptly named BM Wheelie, for of course BMW and a wheelie build. But let's go ahead and get the share code for that. Feel free to go ahead and grab it for yourself, and I'm going to do that, well, about now. I'm also going to hope nothing breaks again. So with all those upgrades, this thing now boasts just over £3,000, a lot lighter than it was before, with 1,270 brake horsepower. This thing is about to be a menace. Okay, so now here we are over at the edge of the festival. Let's go ahead and see how this thing does in a wheelie check. Actually, really, really well. Or some could say, wheelie well. I know it's an old pun, but it's a good one. The G. Well, I don't know about that. So far, it's not been brilliant. But let's go ahead, put this thing on launch control, and away we go. Let's go ahead and see just how good this thing can be. It's got 1,300 or thereabouts brake horsepower. It's just a shade above £3,000. It's still very, very heavy. But what do we get through the camera? 202, and off the end of the runway at 228, and absolutely zero brakes like normal. You really would have thought I'd have learned by now. However, now it is time for us to have a go and, well, make things a little bit of chaos. So we're going to go ahead, keep the all-wheel drive system we've got. We're going to go and shove the massive 2J into this thing. And we're going to go ahead and build this thing up to try and be a little bit of a top speed build. Well, I say little bit, it's quite a big car, really. And as you all know by now, we've got to go ahead and have anti-lag. Yeah, that looks about right. And now I'm going to go ahead, sit here and tune the whole thing. This might take me a while. In the meantime, for this week's Forza shop, we have ourselves the Porsche 959 from 1987 for 700 points. We have ourselves a backstage pass, the Santa outfit, the Rally Raid edition of the 959, the Santa hat to go alongside the outfit, the Super Wheelspin, and the regular Horizon Wheelspin as well. And now, out of the motorway. In the meantime, it is now time for everybody's favourite game, or at least a game that I hope you all enjoy, which is how close can I put the car to that little grate on the motorway. Let's go ahead and see how close are we today. We have gone way past it. Oh dear. I will just go ahead and move this thing back a bit. Right, here we are now at the edge of the motorway. Launch control is on, and away we go with a rather decent launch compared to a few cars I've had in the past. I'm not going to lie. In the meantime, let's go ahead and see what we get in terms of top speed. I'm hoping for something pretty good, but I've also got to go ahead and try and avoid all the traffic too, which in this thing is very much easier said than done. And out we go, 250.33, and still accelerating, just passing 260. We've still got the downhill and speed cameras to go, so let's get going and see what we get. Let's get going and see what we get. Yeah, because that made perfect sense. The camera should be up here somewhere, and there it is, 262.56 going downhill, 265, 266, 267 out of this thing, which for this really isn't too bad. I'm not going to lie, that's a really good top speed to get. Although, we've still got one more thing left to do. Yeah, I think we all knew this was going to happen. Right, let's go ahead and throw this thing in and see what we get through the drift zone. Hopefully, it should be something pretty good indeed. And 35,169 points. It only took me 3 attempts. And now it is time to go ahead and throw this thing back the other way to go ahead and see what we get. 39,169 is the score to beat. Can we beat that score? We can. 37,664, which out of this thing is honestly a miracle. Also, quick fun fact, this is the last new car we're going to get before Christmas, which is honestly insane how we've got here so quick. In the meantime though, thank you very, very much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Feel free to go ahead and like, share, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Tech out. See ya. Oh, hey, look. I found Frosty the Snowman.